Bright Duty. Every student matters.
Hello students, my name is Sanjay Jain. Till now we have done the introduction part of pair of linear equations in two variables. So I hope you have the basic understanding of pair of linear equations by now. In this exercise we will solve the questions based on graphical method of solution. But first of all, let us write what is our understanding till now. Number 1, if the two equations are these, a1x plus b1y plus c1 equal to 0, another equation is a2x plus b2y plus c2 equals 0, right. So by observation we can say that a1 by a2 if equal to b1 by b2 and if it is not equal to c1 by c2, such graphs are of such lines gives us parallel lines, right. This is the observation that I made in the first exercise that we just finished, that when these coefficients, right, were in a relation where a1 by a2 was equal to b1 by b2 and it was not equal to c1 by c2, these lines were parallel lines, right. And also if a1 by a2 equal to b1 by b2 was equal to c1 by c2, in such cases the lines were coincident, right. That means these were essentially the same lines, right, given by two different equations, okay, which the second equation we could have got by multiplying the first equation by a certain number. Another observation was that when a1 by a2 is not equal to b1 by b2, such lines were intersecting lines, right. We also discussed that when we have got intersecting lines, there is a point which is common to both the lines, right. This point will act as the solution for this pair of linear equations. In case of parallel lines, there was no common point. So we would say that there is no point which satisfies both the equations simultaneously. Hence, there is no solution for pair of linear equations, right. Another situation was of coincidental lines. Let us say these two lines. These have infinitely many solutions because infinite points are common to both, okay. These observations we made in the introduction part, okay. Now, in first situation, let us say we have intersecting lines. The graph would be like this. This is the point that will give us solution. And how many points are there? How many intersecting points are there? 1. So, only one solution in case of intersecting lines. And if I represent this situation in a1 by a2 form, then it will be a1 by a2 will not be equal to b1 by b2. Okay, this is the case of intersecting lines. And when you get a solution, such kind of system of pair of linear equations is known as consistent pair of linear equations. When you get a solution, that means these lines are consistent or these two equations are consistent, okay. In second case, when we had a solution, right, we had more than one solution. That was the case when we had coincident lines, right. In such case, the graph was like this. We had infinitely many common points, so infinite number of solutions, right. And in a1 by a2 form, we could have written a1 by a2 equal to b1 by b2 equal to C1 by C2. Okay, these coincident lines are essentially the same lines, so the ratios of coefficients is going to be equal. So this is the situation in coincident lines, and this system of pair of linear equations is also consistent. Why? Because we still have a solution, and when we do not have a common point between two lines, these two lines are parallel lines. In terms of ratios of coefficients, a1 by a2 is equal to b1 by b2, but it is not equal to c1 by c2. Such lines are parallel lines. These do not have any common point, so no solution. And such pair of linear equations is inconsistent. Right? So whenever we have a solution, one solution or infinite solution, there were only two situations: one solution or infinite solutions. These are consistent pair of straight lines. And when we have no solution, this system of straight lines is known as inconsistent. Right? One solution or infinite solutions, one solution was in intersecting lines and this was in coincident lines, and no solution was in parallel lines. Right? There is another term that you need to learn here. When we have got coincident lines, these two lines are essentially the same lines. This is also known as dependent pair of straight lines. This is also known as dependent pair of straight lines. Okay. So if you want to see whether a particular system of straight lines is consistent or not, you will see this ratio a1 by a2, b1 by b2 and c1 by c2, right? If you get this situation where a1 by a2 is not equal to b1 by b2, you will say this is the system of intersecting lines, right? These are intersecting lines, hence consistent. Why? Because it has got one solution. If a1 by a2 is equal to b1 by b2, right, and it is not equal to c1 by c2, these are parallel lines, hence no solution and inconsistent. And if a1 by a2 is equal to b1 by b2 is equal to c1 by c2, then these are dependent lines or coincident lines. And is it consistent or inconsistent? You just need to see whether it gives a solution or not. It will give you infinite number of solutions, so it is consistent. Okay. So all three terms are for this system. Okay. So if you have got consistent pair of straight lines, there can be two situations: intersecting or coincident. If it is inconsistent, that means these lines are parallel lines. Okay.